What's going on, YouTube? I'm back with another video today, helping you get rid of your flat backswing forever with this secret drill. Let's get into it. All right, so let's quickly talk about flat backswings and the issue with flat backswings. Now, flat backswings are terrible for speed. A lot of people say they're bad for accuracy, that too, but they really are truly bad for speed. The main reason they're bad for speed is if you catch yourself being in a flat backswing position, the move at the top of your swing has to start by coming over the top, which engages a lot of your bigger muscle fibers versus your tiny fast twitch muscle fibers that we've been training to actually swing the club faster. So now that we're engaging more big muscles in the swing to get it over the top, you're having to drive down into it. You're using those bigger muscles, and it's more essentially a sledgehammer effect where you're swinging a heavy object versus a light golf club. Not to mention, once you are in this position and throw it over the top, now you're dragging it across the ball. So you end up going to create basically a glancing blow to the golf ball, which is going to lose ball speed. Less ball speed equals less distance, as well as higher spin equals less distance. But swinging from the outside, you're going to lose all your speed in this area. So when you get to the ball, you're going to be slower than you could theoretically be than if you're swinging inside the golf ball. So that's why I do encourage when you are speed training to try to hit the inside part of the golf ball. Another reason having a flat backswing is not good for speed is this golf club is going to operate the best if it's working in a circle and not coming to a complete stop. Now, this sounds weird because ultimately the club does come to a complete stop because you're loading the club at the top and it loads the shaft and then you unload the golf ball. What I'm trying to say though is essentially the principle of an object in motion stays in motion. So when it comes to the golf swing, theoretically speaking, if we were to have the swing operate in a circular pattern where this starts way outside, brings it down, and you start swinging, you're going to have potential for a lot more speed because this club never stops. Well, if we have a really flat backswing and we're down here, the club stopped. You can't keep going down this way at all. You have to then get it back going that way. And it's the only way to start your downswing is to genuinely throw it over the top. So all of those reasons together create issues in your backswing that create issues in your downswing, which is going to cost you speed. So let's fix that right now so that you can start implementing more nervous system training, more fast twitch muscle fibers in your actual swing so that you can start swinging faster. So this drill consists of 3 separate parts, and it is a 3-piece pause drill focusing on your backswing. Let's start with part 1. Now, part 1 is focusing on this initial takeaway, which is about in this position. It's essentially how your club comes up off the ground. Now, typically what happens if you have a very, very flat backswing, you're going to just throw this club straight to the inside right away. So this club, instead of trailing out back this way, more towards the TrackMan, we're actually just throwing it to the inside. So we're looking at how the club operates in this window of the initial takeaway off of the golf ball. What I want you to focus on is bringing it straight back. So in this case, I'm trying to bring that straight back to TrackMan for as long as I can, creating more space and width as well, because when you go straight to the inside, it's closer to me. We're trying to keep more width for more speed, so keeping it outside is a lot better in this case. So we're looking for something straight back. Once you do take it straight back, I want you to pause. So now we're looking at just when this club comes up off the ground, where that club is. So take it back straight, pause. Typically, if you have an inside swing, you'll see this. Well, you can see how much closer to me that is. So we want to keep that further away. So take it back, pause. Great. If you're still having trouble with this, I would recommend using a golf ball or some alignment rods or both. Set up a path that is basically straight back. It can be a little bit turned, but what I want you to do is put that golf ball straight behind you. I've talked about this in the past. Put it straight behind you, and from here, I want you to think pushing that golf ball straight back. If we can get that golf ball to go straight back, you know that you're actually taking it back that way. If we get that golf ball coming more towards the inside when you're taking it back, you know you're just flipping your wrist and breaking inside early. So your takeaway would be like this. And I hit the alignment rod because I'm showing you both. Likewise, if you don't use a golf ball and you're just using alignment rods, it's the same principle of guide that as long as you can, keep it in between those alignment rods. If you start taking it back and break that plane early, you know you're getting it closer to your body, and you know you're going to start getting into that flat backswing. So again, part one is bring it back just off the ground and pause. Make sure it stays on this line and keep it far away from you. Now on to part two. Now for the sake of ease, for part two, we're calling this the middle part of the swing. So what I want you to do is start, again, now you add part one and part two together, so start with part one, and I want you to bring it back straight and pause. From here, what I want you to do is bring your club up to the middle of your backswing where the club head is about even with your hands in regard to height. That's what we are ultimately looking for. This also encourages more width, as well as not just breaking your hands super early, because a lot of people that break their hands super early this way are going to have a flat backswing when they actually turn. So we're looking for back, pause just off the ground, bring it up until they're even, and what you're looking for at this point is the club head is about level with my hands, and we're looking to see from a down the line back view essentially if your club head is covering your hands. What we're looking for, and why we're looking for that there, I should say, is that if that club head is on the inside, you know it's a flat swing. If the club head's on the outside, you know you have an outside takeaway and a essentially steeper backswing. I am okay in this sense if you want to have an outside. If that club is outside of your hands, I am perfectly fine with that right now because we are over-exaggerating getting rid of that flat backswing. So typically you would be flat first, then you'd be flat once they're even, and you can see how different this is versus here. So I would rather you err on this side than anything. So if you want to over-exaggerate, that's perfectly fine. And again, we're pausing and looking. So step one is bringing it back just off the ground. We're making sure it goes straight back. Part two, we're bringing it back and seeing that they're even with our hands. Great, check. Do it again. Part one, check. Part two, check. Go back. Part one, check. Part two, check. Awesome. Now we're ready to add step three. But before I go to step three, actually, I want to talk about one more thing. On your backswing, it's very important that we pay attention to where our hands are. A lot of people mess this up, where their hands might go way inside, but that club's on the outside. So they think they're really outside because their club is not inside, but ultimately this is considered a flat swing with the arms and a steep swing with this. So you're double crossing yourself. So really pay attention to where your hands are in relation to your body. If your hands are way out in front, but your club's flat, well, now you have a flat swing with your club, but you have an outside swing with your hands. If your hands are inside like this, it's again a double cross that way, double cross this way. So we're looking for truly something neutral where your hands are going to be maybe just in front of your quad, keeping it pretty level there as you're starting to rotate and bring it around. Now part three is actually finishing your backswing. So again, phase one, pause. Phase two, pause. We checked all the boxes. So from here, we're going to go into the top of our backswing and pause the top of our backswing. Now, the top of our backswings are going to vary depending on the type of person you are. If you have a very flat backswing, that means you're going to be wrapping that club more this way versus leaving it facing this way or having it be pointed that way. So there's a lot of ways we can change the top of your backswing to be less flat, but it ultimately comes down to this: wrist position and grip. Your wrist position and grip are going to be the biggest aspects of where that club actually should be on the top of your swing, even if you correct phase one and phase two of that backswing. What I mean by this is if you have a bowed wrist at the top of your backswing, if your wrist is bowed, that club's going to be facing that way and should be facing that way. If you have a bowed wrist and you wrap it around your body, that's going to create an issue. Likewise, if you have a cupped wrist at the top of your backswing and you have a cupped wrist and it's facing that way, you're going to have a lot of issues. If you have a cupped wrist and it's facing this way, it's going to be in a little bit better of a position. Now, is one better than the other? Yes and no. Like a lot of people say that bowed wrists are going to be better than a cupped wrist. It ultimately is going to depend on you as a golfer and what your wrists are capable of doing. Talked about this in the past as well. I personally cannot bow my wrist, so that's not an option for me. I don't have any power in that, and I'd probably drop the club at the top of my swing, and I'd have no power at the golf ball. So I need to have a cupped wrist. A lot of you guys should strive for a neutral wrist, which would be at the top of your swing, having your wrist be more neutral, having this club be in about a position more like that. That would be kind of what you're looking for when you're doing this part of the drill. So with all of that being said, again, we're focusing on step one, bringing it back and pausing it, making sure that goes straight back, as if you're staying between the railroad tracks of the alignment rods that you have set up. So step 1's there, then we're going to step 2 and we're making sure it pauses and that's even there. From here, you're going to bring it up and try to keep a neutral left wrist, making sure that club is on plane. So now we just did our 3-piece drill correctly. Pause 1, pause 2, pause 3. From there, you can start implementing a downswing as well. I would suggest not having a golf ball there, but it would be essentially like this, where it's pause 1, pause 2, pause 3, start the downswing. This will help reinforce in your mind where the club should be at each phase. If you over-exaggerate a little bit and they're outside, again, that's okay. It's always better to over-exaggerate a change, because then you'll find a happy medium when you actually swing the golf club at hitting a golf ball. I would just continually reinforce this in your backyard over and over and over again, running this drill. Then you can start turning it into a speed drill where you try to swing faster and faster and faster through this same pause, pause, pause. Don't try to put it all together until you actually have gone through the motions and made sure that you locked in each position separately. From there, you can start combining some of the phases. So instead of pausing just with 1, then 2, you can go straight into 2, and then go into 3 and downswing. One of the main reasons I love pause drills so much is that your eyes can actually see and your body can feel those positions better. If we're just going through the motions of just going through it, you really don't know in this space where that club is. It's very difficult to tell. But when I bring it back like this and stop, it's very easy. My eyes can see that where that club is. It went straight back. My body can feel, okay, that club is right there. When I bring it up into this position, I can feel, okay, that feels about like it's even. I can see, that looks pretty even. When I go up to the top, I love the pause aspect as well, because now I can see and feel where that's pointed. I can see, is my wrist cupped? Is it more neutral? Is it bowed? What position is the shaft in at the top? Because now we're not just going up and doing whatever, and we're not having to go back to a video to look at it. I can actively just turn my head and see what's going on live time while feeling it. Also love that when you get to the top of your swing and pause, really reinforces starting that downswing by dropping that club into the slot and then putting all the speed at the ball. So running speed drills in pause form is also awesome, and you can now incorporate technique with speed. So doing these drills will really help take your swing from looking like this, where you are just flat and inside it all the time, to this where you're really able to get in those positions better. I want you to rehearse actually that takeaway where we're talking about pause, pause, pause. Now you're in the correct positions, have practiced it on the range, just practice it right before you hit the golf ball, then go through and hit the golf ball. Do that every time. So now you're implementing seeing those positions, feeling those positions, and getting it to actually incorporate into the golf swing. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments down below about fixing your flat backswing. This is one of the best drills for actually fixing it, because like I said, you can visibly see it while you're doing it and while you feel what position that club is in. I am confident that this can help you. Remember to like, subscribe, share this video with a friend who has a flat swing, and until next time, we'll see you guys later.